Hey everyone, and welcome to Royalty Now Studios, where I recreate famous figures from the past and put them in the modern day. I love the way the modern day versions of these figures make them feel more relatable to us today. I wanted to do a little Royalty Now short video highlighting my Halloween post from last year that hasn't quite made its way to YouTube yet. And that is the portrait of Elizabeth Bathory. She is another Eastern European figure. Check out the previous Vlad the Impaler video that I just posted last week if you haven't already, who is allegedly one of the most prolific serial killers of all time. If you like my work, make sure to like and subscribe. You can also find me on Instagram at royalty_now_ and see my entire body of work there. I'm going to talk briefly about Elizabeth's legacy and then show you my modern day recreation. Quick warning on this is about torture and murder, so if you're sensitive to that stuff, I would avoid it. Let's get started. Countess Bathory Erzsébet, westernized to Elizabeth Bathory, lived in Hungary from 1560 to 1614, about 100 years after Vlad the Impaler lived next door in Romania. The difference between fact and fiction, legend and truth is foggy in the case of Bathory. To some, she is the most prolific female serial killer in history, recorded history anyway, and to some she is a framed innocent. In the early 1600s, rumors began to spread around the area about some suspicious activities being carried out by the Hungarian noblewoman. Bathory had a reputation in the area for her servants and even peasant girls going missing under suspicious circumstances. It was said that her sadistic activities included biting chunks of flesh from her victims, cutting victims with scissors, piercing them with needles, and holding red-hot irons up to their flesh. Some victims were even starved or beaten to death. Legend has it that one unfortunate soul was even forced to cook and eat her own flesh. Modern folklore says that Bathory thought drinking or bathing in the blood of her young girls would keep her youthful. It is said that she killed between 80 and 650 victims during her spree. Now, Elizabeth was eventually kind of brought to justice around 1610 when an investigation was conducted and a trial was held for her. And over 300 witnesses came forth to say that they'd seen the events or they'd seen a body or something like that, and she was eventually imprisoned for the rest of her life. Now, she had some pretty powerful people protecting her. She was obviously a powerful woman at the time and had a powerful family. So it's said that her escapades were kind of swept under the rug until 1610 when they finally had this trial for her. Now, it's only in recent years that the idea that Elizabeth Bathory was framed has come into play. Some believe that the noblemen of the area kind of fabricated all this evidence against her in an attempt to seize her wealth. It's no leap to say that the details of these supposed murders that she committed have definitely been exaggerated throughout the years, including the rumor that she bathed in the blood of young girls, which is probably not true even if she was a killer. There is some evidence of her innocence, including no victims ever actually being named, or the documents not found at least, her not being able to testify at her own trial, and of course several witnesses claiming to have been there and directly witnessed events when they didn't even know her and couldn't have witnessed those events. So there's just some fog of history around this entire legacy and legend, and it's really hard because there's many documents that are lost to us. So it's really impossible to declare her either innocent or guilty today, looking back on it. It's just a really interesting story that's captured a lot of imaginations. So let's get into the recreation. First of all, there are no existing contemporary portraits of Elizabeth Bathory surviving for us today. There is an image of her that is said to be copied from a lost original portrait as seen here. However, this portrait is just in really bad condition and was difficult to work from for my purposes, so I've worked from another, and the one I've worked from is actually of an unidentified lady painted in 1580 by Anthony Blockland. It may or may not be Elizabeth, but it's definitely associated with her legend. But just for fun and for Halloween, it works for what we're doing here. So let's take a look at my modern day recreation of Elizabeth Bathory. All right, I'm excited to hear what you guys think. If you like my work and want to support me, you can do so by visiting the links to my Etsy store, my Patreon page, and my Instagram in the details below. And of course, drop your suggestions of who you'd like to see next. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you for the next subject.